Hello, another shorter module video here. This one is for DND5e Helpers. I find this particularly useful in my Curse of Strahd campaign. If you're running Curse of Strahd, or if you have a lot of undead in your campaign, or if you have a wild mage in your campaign, this is a very, very useful module. I ended up with this almost by accident. I kind of got the wrong module, and then when I looked in the settings, I thought, oh, I can actually make a lot of use of this. Main thing I use it for is, well, I show you in the settings in here. We've got DND5e Helpers. It's kind of like, MIDI QOL and better roles and things like that mess, in that it just has a load of different settings for different things that are very useful. Going through these settings, auto adjust templates to 5e grids. I find if you have your spells set up properly in terms of their feat radius and who they affect, I haven't needed that. You'll see that there's an option to have it try and calculate cover automatically based on how much line of sight is obscured and by what type of wall. I've found that to be quite unreliable so far, so I've not used that. Then we have the options for wild magic. So the way this works, you kind of have to see all these settings before you understand. What it will do is whenever a spell slot is used by someone who has the feature named in here, in this case, Wild Magic Surge, the game will roll on this table if it exists in your world. So if you have a wild mage, or a wild magic wizard, whatever they're called these days, they will presumably, as part of their class features, have a feature called Wild Magic Surge. The module will detect that, and when that character's spell slots go down, in other words, if they cast any sort of spell, the game will also go, well, in addition to that spell, I am now going to roll on this table. That's really handy because it means that if you have customized your wild magic table, like a lot of people do, you can set that up. It also means you can kind of abuse this. So if you don't have a wild magic, I keep saying mage, just realised it's sorcerer and 5e, isn't it? So yeah, I meant sorcerer. I'm not going to restart the video. A group that I'm helping out with, Foundry, they don't have a sorcerer, but they do have the Wild Soul, Wild Path Barbarian, who have like a customized surge when they use, I think it's when they use their rage, or when they do something with their rage, I can't remember. But what we did was, because there's no wild magic sorcerer in their game, we changed their rage feature to be a spell, and instead they cast the spell when they rage, and we have the table set up. We renamed the table to like Wild Soul Surge table, and now when she uses that, it rolls on here. It's really, really good for automating that process. There's an option here to have the surge result be invisible to everyone except the DM. You might not want everybody to know what's happened. Then we have, do you want if someone uses a reaction, do you want it to apply a condition? And then at the end of the turn, do you want that to go? I don't use that, but I've seen some groups have found that useful for... I've seen some newer players get confused sometimes on when their reaction replenishes. If I'm the last person in the turn and I use my reaction, and then the DM goes, right, top of the round, and we start again. And so I know a lot of players who might try to use another reaction before it gets around to them. So this status is quite good in that it puts a marker on when an ability is used that has an action cost in Foundry of 1 reaction. You'll know you can set things to be actions, reactions, bonus actions, utility, special, so on. If they do something that has a reaction status, that icon goes on until their next turn, and then it clears off, so it just alerts the player. Do you want legend reactions to reset the start of a turn? I like this one. I normally use this. If you have anyone who has a D6 recharge ability and it's exhausted, at the start of their turn, do you want it to automatically roll that recharge? I definitely do, because I will always forget that. Thankfully, Foundry's good in that it will tell you, nope, you need to recharge that. But I might forget that I could have rolled. I mean, I will. I say I could. I always do. Forget to roll to see if I get something back. And an ability that I might have got to use 3 or 4 times, I might only use once. With this, at the start of a round, big visible dice roll on the screen, especially if you use like Dice So Nice or something like that, and it will tell you in the chat. So that's a very useful reminder. If you use Great Wounds, you can set a table up for Great Wounds. This is I don't know if it's a variant or if it's a popular homebrew. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments. It's more fun than me going and looking it up. Where some groups have it that if someone takes more than half their health in a single blow, they roll on a great wound, like a lingering injury or a horrific injury sort of table. Like you lose an arm or you're blinded in one eye, something like that. You can set a table up of them, of those outcomes, those wounds, those great wounds. And then if someone does take more than half their health in a single blow, it will automatically roll on that table. I think that's really good. My game doesn't use that. I think I will in the future. When you add something into someone, this auto proficiency, if you add an item into somebody's character sheet, it will look to see if they're proficient with that type of item. If they are, it will adjust the parameters and the roles of it to add in proficiency. Undead Fortitude, if an undead creature hits 0 health, it will do the Undead Fortitude roll. That's another check, especially with Curse of Strahd, that I have forgotten so many times. My group just mow down zombies. I can't remember if skeletons have Undead Fortitude. But the number of things that I've realised like an hour later, like, oh, they probably should have maybe got back up. A feature that's really useful at low-level play, because now my group are all level 10 or 11. If a zombie got back up, they'd just nuke it again. But at the start of the game, that can be a terrifying mechanic if you're level like 1 and 2. Debugging, I'm never going to use that. That's more for mod developers. Open wound, I think this is another variant I'm not familiar with. Just scanning it quickly, it looks like it's to do with if people are taking crits when they are already down. Well, it says here, open wounds trigger an attack roll. If an attack roll is greater than this value, an open wound is rolled. So if you can set an amount for a certain amount of damage, it will trigger this open wound mechanic. And we've also got one there, a death save that fails by 5 or more causes that. I'd need to go and look up and see what we have in there. But you can see here, there's another reference table. So I'm not sure what the difference between open wounds and great wounds would be. I'm not going to waste your video time by looking that up, but you'll see that they are 2 separate options. The main reason I used this module, I accidentally missed automatic regeneration. My God, this is such a time saver. I have hated, in an undead heavy campaign, I have hated juggling or maintaining the separate paperwork of regeneration. And so many times I've forgotten to apply HP at the start of the round. What this does is it's at the start of any creature's turn, it looks in their features for a feature called Regeneration. If it finds it, it looks for a number in the narrative of, every round the creature restores 20 HP. If it sees that, at the start of that creature's turn, just the DM will get a little pop-up box saying, Regeneration, do you want to have vampire spawn recover 10 HP? You can say yes or no. Sometimes it might be no, as you'll know if it's in running water or if it's taken radiant damage, or is in sunlight the last turn. It does not regenerate this turn. So it doesn't just automatically do it, because if you're having to remember to go and take it off all the time, that's all equally annoying. So you get that prompt. Absolutely fantastic, invaluable feature. I kept the add-on just for that, especially in Curse of Strahd, where there are a lot of undead that can regenerate. That has been a big time saver for me. So, that is D&D5e Helpers. Straightforward mod with a couple of very useful tools. I highly recommend it. I love it now I've got it. As ever, thank you very much for watching. If you've got anything you want me to cover, any modules, just leave a comment and let me know. But otherwise, take care and I'll see you soon.